Hello again.
Here we are again.
We are going to share with you how to do your consultations to the I Ching Oracle. Now we are going to explain two different methods. The method of the coin, which is the simple one and the quicker one, and the second one, the Yarrow stalks methods, which is the traditional one. So, Shantena.
In the coin method, which is from the 12th century of our era, you use 3 equal coins, and you start by deciding which side of the coin is yang and which side is yin, in whichever way you feel like. Then you will toss the coin 6 times, 1 for each line of your hexagram, and sum the values of the coins. The sum will be either 6, if it's 2, 2, 2, 7 or 8 or 9. Each one of these numbers corresponds to a type of line. 6 is an old yin, which is ready to transform into yang. 7 is a young yang. 8 is a young yin. And 9 is an old yang, which is ready to transform into yin. You toss the coins 6 times, and those will be the 6th line of your hexagram, starting from the bottom up. The energy in the hexagram comes from the bottom and rises like sap in a tree. Write down the number of each line and draw the type of line. Six tosses of the coin will give you your primary hexagram. Now draw your secondary hexagram to the right of your primary hexagram by copying the unchanging line, the yang line, the 7 and the 8, identical, and transforming the changing line into the opposite. So yin becomes yang and yang becomes yin. The 6 becomes a 7 and the 9 becomes an 8. Then look up both of your hexagram in the hexagram table at the beginning of the book. Okay. In this case, the lower trigram is open, and the upper trigram is open again.
Open and open.
So your hexagram will be at the intersection of the open line and the open column is number 58, which is open. The secondary hexagram has at the bottom the trigram radiance and on the top the trigram gorge. So your hexagram is at the intersection of radiance and gorge, which is number 63. 63 is already folding. Let's now look at the Yarrow stalk method.
Now we are going to introduce you to the second method, the Yarrow stalks method, which is the traditional one. The most wonderful thing would be if you can get your own Yarrow stalks. You can go to the countryside and take some flowers, some Aquileas, and then you can cut them and dry them, and then you will have this wonderful collection for you to do your own consultation. But in case you can't, you have this other possibility, which is to buy them in a supermarket.
These are bamboo skewers.
Yeah, and you can find, you can buy. Yeah, so whatever you prefer, it could be. Okay, now
the consultation. Okay, you have 50 sticks, 50 yarrow stalks, and the first operation you pick one, you choose one that is the witness. This will be like the unmoving center of your whole consultation. It does not take active part in the consultation, but is, in the Chinese perspective, the most important. It's your unmoving center, your witness. So it will sit there, separate from all the rest of the operation, and watching over it. Then the remaining 49 sticks you divide in two bunches, right and left. Then you take one from the left bunch and you put it in between the index finger and the middle finger of your left hand. Then you go to the bunch on your right and you count it in groups of 4. You divide it in groups of 4 sticks each. At the end, you will be left with 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the last group, and you put it in between your middle finger and your ring finger of your left hand. If you have an exact number of groups of 4, you just take the last group of 4. So you will always have something in between your fingers. Then you go to the left side and you do the same. You count it in groups of 4. 4, 4, 4. The remainder, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, you put it in between your ring finger and the little finger of your left hand. Now, all the sticks that you have in between your fingers, in this case there are 5, you put them aside, separate from the witness and from the other one, and if you have done things correctly, at this stage you should have either 5 or 9 sticks that you put aside. This is step 1 of your first line. Then you put all the bunches, the groups of 4 back together. Again you divide it, you open it up in right and left, and this opening is the crucial, the essential part of the consultation. And symbolically it's like opening up to receive the answer to your question. So you take one from the left and you put it in between the index finger and the middle finger of your left hand, and divide the group, the bunch on your right, in groups of 4, just like you did before. The remainder, 1, 2, 3, or a whole group of 4, you put it in between your middle finger and your ring finger of your left hand. Then you go to the bunch on your left and you do the same. Count it in groups of 4. Whatever is left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, you put it in between the ring finger and the middle finger and the little finger of your left hand, and you put these aside. Now you can do a check. If you've done things right, you should have either 4 or 8 sticks in your left hand. You put them across the one that you put aside before. This helps you to remember you've done the first 2 steps of your first line. The groups of 4, you bring them all together, you divide them again, take one from the left bunch, put it in between your index finger and the middle finger of your left hand, go to the bunch on your right, count it in groups of 4 like you did before. 4, 4, 4, 4. Whatever is left, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, you put it in between the middle finger and ring finger of your left hand. Then you go to the bunch on your left and do the same. You count it in. At this point, again, you should have either 4 or 8 sticks in between your fingers. The first time was 5 or 9, the second and third time is 4 or 8. You put them across the one that you put aside before. That tells you you've done this operation 3 times. Now it's time to count how many groups of 4 you have on the table in front of you. In this case, you have 9. 9 is a changing yang line. This is your first line, then you will bring all your sticks back together except the witness, which always stays out there, and you will repeat exactly the same operation for your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth line. Remember, the lines are from the bottom up. First line is the bottom one, sixth line is the top, and you will write down numbers and draw the lines, and that will be your primary hexagram. So by repeating 6 times this operation, we've built this hexagram. The first line is an old yang, the second and third are yang yang, the fourth and fifth are yang yin, and the sixth one is an old yin. Then you build your secondary hexagram by copying the unchanging line as they are and transforming the changing line into their opposite. Then you're ready to look up in the hexagram table both your primary and secondary hexagram. Okay, thank you for your attention.
And please don't forget, in case of any doubt, to write them in the comments of YouTube, and we will back to you as soon as possible.